how do you think about regret?
So I've thought about regret a lot in my life. I've tried to minimize the amount of regret I have. I actually think I'm in a pretty good spot in life. So if you think of life in general, and like you think of what's going on in your life, and you think about how many regrets do you have, there are some regrets I have in life. Not many that make me really like feel it every day in my gut. And there are some regrets that you feel every day in your gut. Like if you're 60 years old, you always wanted to go be a musician, you never even tried to like go big time, you feel it in your gut, right? Those are some of those bad regrets. At 24, I'll be 25 in 5 days, so basically 25. I don't feel a level of regret that is substantial. I feel like I've done many things that I needed to do, tried many things I needed to do, and engaged in many experiences. So it's unique because I know that if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, which is trying to build a startup, and it's very, very difficult trying to build a startup and get it out into the world. It's so difficult. It's like there's a constant boulder just on you 24/7 with anxiety and pressure. I know that the regret of me not trying to do this right now would be astronomical. Like I literally can picture myself in the offices of some bank at whatever job I'm at, because that's probably what I would have worked at, some bank or some consulting firm. And I'm literally 24/7 as my manager gives me a new assignment to finish. I'm doing the assignment and I'm constantly just thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing with my life?
Do you think regret is your biggest fear?
Yeah. Regret is my biggest fear. I think regret is my biggest fear. I'm afraid of mice, but I'm afraid of regret a lot more. And if you
I feel like you put it on such a high pedestal compared to most emotions.
And I don't know why I do that. I don't know why I put regret on such a high pedestal. It's probably has something to do with like things that have happened in my personal life, and maybe my parents' relationship influenced that a little bit. But I don't know. I'm still trying to psychoanalyze why am I? Because most people, people don't they don't care that much, right? Especially at a young age in their early 20s, they're not thinking about regret. They're not thinking about what's going to happen, when they're 30. They're thinking about living in the moment. They're doing what they're doing. And they're not thinking, oh, if I get this job, I'm going to be so sad because I'm not doing what I actually want. No, they just get the job and they go do it. And maybe in 10 years they do something else and they just keep it moving. I think it stems from thinking about death. And the concept of death is such a big idea in my mind that I won't be here one day. So it's like, it's weird because when it's time to die, you're also in this phase where you're like, all right, what did I do before this inevitable day? Like the day's here, it's time to die. Maybe you're able to recognize it, maybe it happens all of a sudden. And so you're asking yourself, what did you do? Elon Musk put out his leaked messages came out the other day, and he asked Parag Agrawal, CEO of Twitter, what did you get done this week? Right? And it became a meme because it's like, well, what did you get done this week? And imagine going to the end of your life. What did you get done in your life? What did you do? Like you had 40, 50, 60 years to live. What did you actually get done?
Won't you just be dead? You won't be thinking those thoughts.
Yes, you will be dead. And the problem is that's where you get into this like nihilistic idea of like, okay, so you're going to be dead. So what you did in your life really doesn't matter because you're going to be dead anyway. Like what's the point of it? You're dead. But on the flip side, it's like in that last moment before you die, for some reason, I feel that it would be more valuable than not to have actually been content that you did something with your life. So for example, this is a great example actually. When I graduated college, the first 2 years of my college experience kind of sucked because I was in a long distance relationship. I wasn't really having friends. I was kind of like lonely in my dorm all the time. So it's like, if I graduated college in 2018, I would have been like, damn, I didn't do anything in college and college sucked. By 2020, when I graduated, even with me missing like 6 months because of COVID, because it ended early, from September till February 2020, those 6 months, those were the best 6 months of college I've ever had in my life. September 2019 to February 2020. Because I did so much in those 6 months. Like everything I wanted to do, every college experience I wanted to have that I didn't get to have the first couple years of college, I got to have in those 6 months. And that saved my conceptualization of my own life now that I'm done with college, 2 years out, feeling as if I have zero regrets. Like I have genuinely zero regrets about my college experience.
Do you think you have an addictive personality? Because I feel like a normal person would feel that and be like, well, I just want to keep doing that. I just want to keep you just kind of had it last for 6 months. Some people are like, well, what about next year?
Yeah, I feel like I have an addicting personality in terms of like if I say I'm going to do something, I need to see the structure of how it gets done. It's why I haven't been working out recently, because if I don't work out one day, I'm not going to work out the next day. If I work out at least 1 or 2 days in a row, I will keep continuing. Like I know that about myself. So that's where the addiction comes in. But I also have the ability to be content when things are done. And so when college ended, I didn't need to go chase those crazy experiences in 2021, 2022. Because I had experienced them from 2019 to 2020. I was like, all right, I'm good. This was fun. It was awesome. Like I haven't been to a bar since college. I mean, maybe once with a friend in the past 2 years. Because I went to the bars a lot during college, those 6 months that I just described.
When it's time to go, it's time to go.
When it's time to go, it's time to go. And so it's the way I think about regret is that if I can have the least amount of it after a chapter of my life is over, I feel very happy moving on to the next chapter of life. I think in high school, I have some regrets, but not that many. So in high school, what happened is I went all in on debate. And because I went all in on debate, I had 0 friends. Like when I mean 0, I mean 0 friends my senior year. Like this is how I'll prove I have 0 friends. I did not take a single picture with a friend at graduation in 2016. Like, you know how you take pictures with friends in graduation? I took a picture with my mom, my dad, and my sister. We stepped out of the auditorium and I had 0 people to take a picture with. It's not that they didn't know me or they hated me, or I had abandoned my friend group entirely because I was so obsessed with debate. I ended up, becoming one of the top debaters in the country, but like I went all in. And so I skipped the winter ball in 2015 in December to go to a tournament in Ridge, New Jersey. Yeah. I ended up getting first place at that tournament. 7 years later, do you have regrets about not going to that winter ball? No.
No regret?
I have 0 regrets because I have a championship trophy at home. And that championship trophy, to me, matters a lot more because it validated all the hard work I was putting in 2015 to become one of the best debaters in the country, and I'd finally won a major championship. And I was like, that's awesome. Versus going to a winter ball where I would have been standing in the corner drinking apple juice. Like,
have you ever had an experience where like your expectations were not met? Where you thought going to this tournament or going to this ball, like winning wasn't as big as an experience?
Yeah, I went to another tournament in California in February, in Berkeley. I got to the final round and I lost on a 3-0 decision. And that's a regret because I could have had a much better round. I shouldn't have lost. I had a bad strategy. Like from a tournament, you go from octos to quarters to semis to finals. So it's like it's a grind getting to that final round. And then when you get to the final round, you want to win, right? And I lost. So there were times where my expectations did not match what happened in reality, as is life. But I also don't have that many regrets about it. I'm like, I tried my hardest and I messed up in the final round and it is what it is, but I move on. But the opportunity of going to the winter ball over even having a chance to compete, that's where I knew the major regret would be. So it wasn't even a question for me back in 2015. I was like, I'm not going to the winter ball, I'm going to the tournament. I want to debate. So the way I think about regret right now in my life is like, I'm not going to go get some job that I know, people are interested in getting and getting some nice salary. Like I'm going all in on the thing that I know is the hardest thing to do. I think that's the way to sum it up. The way to have the least amount of regrets is to do the thing that you know is the hardest thing to do. Because if you do the thing that's the hardest thing to do, like lose weight or like go build a company or try something outside of your comfort zone, you don't have regrets if you fail. Like you really don't. Like it'll suck. It sucked losing in the final round of that tournament in California, but I really did put my all into trying to win. And so at this stage of my life, I really have very few regrets. And I want to keep it that way. And when this chapter ends of building the startup, I need to make sure that I had very few regrets while building the startup because I put all my time and effort of trying to build it to be something big. And that's how I think about regret.